When you think about fighting the world's toughest diseases, your mind probably jumps to these giant, sprawling corporations, right? But for ALS, one of medicine's greatest challenges, the real front line, well, it's somewhere else entirely. This is the story of how small, agile companies are running the gauntlet and taking on that fight.
So it really makes you wonder, who actually fights medicine's toughest battles? Is it the industry giants, the ones with basically unlimited resources? Or is it the scrappy, focused innovators who are willing to bet it all on one unconventional idea? When it comes to ALS, the answer is getting clearer and clearer.
And to really get why, we've got to talk about something called the innovation gap. Think of it as the space in the pharma world where the biggest players, they often just don't want to go. But it's exactly where the most crucial early stage work happens.
And this comparison right here, it tells the whole story. Big pharma, well, it's built for predictable markets and lower risk. That's just what their shareholders demand, right? But small biotechs, they thrive in the complete opposite environment. Their entire business model is practically engineered to tackle huge scientific risk, to chase those wild, unconventional ideas, and to stay laser-focused on one single complex problem, like ALS.
So here's the bottom line. These small companies aren't just, a part of the ecosystem. They are the experimental frontier. This is ground zero. It's where the truly ambitious work. We're talking gene therapies, totally new classes of drugs. This is where it all gets started. Okay, so let's dive into the science itself and meet some of these champions. We're going to look at 3 really different strategies. Think of them as 3 different weapons being forged in this battle against ALS. All right, first up, we've got a strategy that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, the AI detective. And a company called Verge Genomics is really leading the charge here, using just massive computational power to try and crack a deep biological mystery. So how does it work? Well, instead of starting with a hunch in a traditional lab, Verge starts with data, and I mean massive amounts of it. Their AI basically becomes this super intelligent detective, sifting through patient genetics and all this biological info, hunting for patterns nobody else can see. The whole point is to predict what's going to work before you even step foot in the lab. It's a complete fundamental shift in how we discover drugs. Next up, our second strategy, precision medicine. This is championed by companies like Quiralis. And the core idea here is it's pretty revolutionary. What if ALS isn't just one disease? What if it's actually many? And that's exactly the complexity Quiralis is trying to untangle. They're on the hunt for specific genetic signatures that define different subtypes of the disease. So what does that mean? It means the goal isn't a one-size-fits-all pill anymore. Nope, it's about creating therapies that are totally tailored to a patient's unique biology, targeting the exact cellular machinery that's gone haywire. And for our third strategy, well, this might be the most ambitious one of all. The cellular engineer. We're talking about the world of gene therapy, where companies like Aviato Bio aren't just trying to treat symptoms, they're trying to fix the problem right at its source. Think about it like this. Aviato Bio uses these harmless viruses, basically as microscopic delivery trucks, to send therapeutic genes straight into the nervous system. And the mission? To correct or maybe compensate for the faulty genetic code that's causing the disease in the first place. It is an incredibly complex approach, for sure, but man, the promise it holds is just immense. But of course, right, none of this incredible science can happen in a vacuum. It needs fuel, it needs funding. So who's actually paying for all this high-risk, high-reward research? Let's take a look at the ecosystem that keeps these innovators in the fight. It's a really interesting mix, actually. Venture capital, or VC, plays the biggest role. They provide that super high-risk investment needed for early development. But look at that other huge slice of the pie, nonprofit foundations. They are an absolutely critical piece of this puzzle. And that's because these foundations, they're not your typical investors. For them, the return on investment isn't about financial profit. It's about progress. They are completely mission-driven, focused on one thing and one thing only, accelerating treatments for patients. This creates this powerful kind of hybrid funding model that really fuels the fight. But even with the brightest minds and the most dedicated funding in the world, the path forward is just brutally challenging. We have to be honest about the reality these small companies are up against every single day. Just look at that number, 90%. That's the failure rate. After years of work, after millions of dollars invested, 9 out of every 10 experimental therapies will simply not make it to patients. It's a staggering reality.
So for a small company that has bet literally everything on just one or two big ideas, a single failed trial can be an extinction-level event. It can wipe them out. But here's the paradox, right? This insane, high-stakes environment is exactly where breakthroughs are born. You have to be willing to risk it all to achieve something truly new.
So, where does this all leave us? What does this mean for the future? Given all the risks and this incredible innovation we're seeing, what's the actual path forward in the fight against ALS? Well, the future isn't about just one single technology. Not at all. It's a powerful combination of all the strategies we've just talked about. We've got gene therapy, precision medicine, AI-driven discovery. The future is a multi-pronged attack on this disease, and it's being led by these small, specialized innovators. And that right there is the key takeaway. The solution for ALS probably isn't going to be one magic bullet. It's much more likely to be a mosaic, a collection of different therapies, each developed by these focused, daring companies, and each targeting a different little piece of this hugely complex biological puzzle. And all this leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When we're facing our toughest medical challenges, what really drives progress? Is it the sheer scale of the biggest budgets, or is it the courage behind the boldest ideas? I think the story of ALS research gives us a pretty clear answer to that one.